Howdy everybody. The Battleship Texas will soon be moved to the dry dock in Galveston, Texas. That move is probably less than 60 days away. So I figured it was time to introduce a series of things to see and do in Galveston, Texas. There are going to be people coming in from Texas that are not familiar with the area, maybe from San Antonio or even further away. There are people coming in from out of state that are not familiar with Texas at all, much less Galveston. And there may be some folks too, possibly, that I know of, 50-50 chance on both, that they will be coming in from out of the country. For these folks, I wanted to do a daily series, every other day, let's say every other day series of things to see and do in Galveston. Because there are a lot of them, a whole lot of them. As a matter of fact, I probably will not have time to get to all of them. But before we talk about the things to do and see in Galveston, let's talk about the island itself. At one time, it was the fastest growing and largest city in the state of Texas. That was before 1900. September 8th, 1900 to be exact. When the worst natural disaster to ever hit the United States struck Galveston Island. A hurricane, Category 4, 15-foot surges. Now there are scores of videos and scores of articles online and on YouTube about this event, so I'm not going to get deep into it. Anybody that wants to know about it, the information is out there and more than plentiful. I just wanted to briefly touch on it so that people that did not know this history know the events that took place on the island when they're down there. If you know where to look, you can still see scars on the land from that storm 122 years ago. Let's talk about this. Once a thriving hub in the state of Texas had been destroyed in one day. Fully 1/2 of all the buildings were totally destroyed, and the other half all needed major repair. It is estimated that 1 out of 6 residents perished in the storm. Currently, we give all hurricanes a name. This storm occurred before hurricanes were being named. It has become to be known as the Great Storm. The greatest, most destructive natural disaster to ever hit the United States, claiming in total over 12,000 lives, stretching all the way up to Canada. Fully half, or more than half, of those lives were on Galveston Island. It is estimated that 6,000 to 8,000 people on the island perished. There was such a mass of dead bodies to be taken care of that it simply could not be done. The manpower was simply not available to bury all the corpses. It was decided that they would be dumped out at sea. So thousands of corpses were taken out to sea and simply dumped in the ocean. Hundreds upon hundreds would end up washing back onto the beaches. Looting became a big issue, not only of property, but from the corpses that scattered throughout the island. In an effort to keep anything like this from ever happening again, a major task was undertaken. It was decided that a seawall would be built on the beach of Galveston Island, protecting it from future storms. But not only was a seawall going to be built, the island itself, in its entirety, would be raised. All the buildings, all the utilities, all the headstones, everything. The island was raised anywhere from 18 to 6, all the way down to 2 feet as it tapered towards the ends of the island. Families were financially responsible to raise their own houses so that the sand that was being pumped in from offshore could be placed under their house, then the house lowered back on to the higher level. Families that could not afford this, their first floors of their homes were simply buried under the sand. There are many homes in Galveston that when you look at them, you're not seeing the ground floor. You are, in fact, seeing the second floor. The ground floor is now underground. There was a channel dug from one end of the island to the center of the island to help transport the sand needed to raise the island into the center part of the island. Over the years, this channel has been widened and deepened and is now known as Offutt's Bayou. If you drive down 61st Street, the only water you go over is this channel that was dug to raise the island. The project took from 1901 to 1910 to complete. A task that I would say would be extremely challenging, even with modern equipment. The island has, of course, recovered since then, and the two main remaining things that point out that the storm ever happened are the seawall and Offutt's Bayou that cuts the island almost in half. Now, if you want to know more about this event, I strongly suggest the video put out by the history guy. I will link to it in the description. Now, some people are going to say that right there is just downright depressing. You know what? I agree with you. It is. But a lot of history is. I just wanted to make everybody aware of the history of Galveston Island, those that are not already aware. When you're walking the streets, the beaches, the city, walking around town, driving around town, just take a minute to think what has gone on that island. Now, this was just a start to the series on Galveston Island in preparation for the move of the Battleship Texas. The next one I'll have out in the next day or two, probably 2, and it will be my #1 place that I love to go when I go to Galveston. And it's going to be a shocker to most of you. But once you go there, I think it will become your #1 place to go as well. And if not, there's lots of other places to pick from. So if you want to see a well-done historical documentary done on the storm that hit the United States and Galveston Island in 1900, go see the history guy right here. And if you want to become a subscriber to my channel, and I know you do, click the little circle thing right there.